Okay, I figured before we do the I shut up and let you watch all four of them go at once, I wanted to compare the two main scenes in this section, which is going to be uh, the scene with Sisteena and then the scene with Lions. So we're gonna just get to the end here with Benedict shooting Riamos dead, and Vice countering Bolus. Those are some pretty big name changes, but you know, whatever. Can we? I don't want to make it go faster because then you won't be able to read along. But there we go. We're using Reborn. The translation pretty much stays the same between PSP and Reborn. There's a few minor word changes, but not enough for me to try and fit three of these on here. So here we go. My name is Sisteena. She's a warrior of the Valeria. She came here to scout the town and get supplies. Here, she's a little more thankful up front. She's preparing for a raid on their stores. This this actually is a pretty big change in my mind because Vice, as a reaction to them being extremists, seems really weird in the PS1 translation because in this it sounds like she's scrounging around for food, just trying to get by. In Reborn, the Brantyn's propaganda sounds a lot more reasonable because yeah, they're planning. She's planning to raid them. Why is this not? Oh, let's. Did I? I must have gotten distracted while I was. There we go. Nothing but trouble. Okay, let's get these synced up a little bit better. I'm waiting for the voice lines to play out. So their deeds border on butchery makes a lot more sense when they're talking about raiding as opposed to just scrounging for food. And her defense feels a little weaker when she admitted to, being here to do some raiding. Now, is the raiding that bad? Not in the grand scale of what we're going to do at the end of chapter 2 if we want, or at the end of chapter 1 if we want to go lawful. But it definitely paints Sisteena in a little more morally gray in Reborn than the PS1 version, where she definitely comes across as, just a total complete goody two shoes. Vice's I piss on your common cause, I think, is a much better line uh, than the PS1 version. But there we are. I wanted to talk about that just because I felt like that was a pretty big change. And Leonard's dismissal of her in Reborn makes more sense, especially when we're going to get to talking about what happens here in Phidoc. There we go. Here, let's try and sync these up a little bit better. Pause. Okay, the PS1 version needs to load. I had forgotten how bad the loading times were on the PS1 version, which I probably could fix on the emulator now that I think of it. Leonard becomes Ruchi Riemann instead of Lenny or Leishi Lehman. I like Swan Castle. All right. This out here isn't what's important. What's important is on the inside, but I don't know how to to sync it up easily. Here, let's give us some background music. So here, my God, Sir Lance himself is here. That sounds like Leonard is super shocked, right? Like, but he kind of no-sells it in the voice acting.
Have you an answer?
Perhaps you'd best ask.
Sir Lancelot is here.
Oh, I guess I didn't have it go very well. But here we go. This is also a little bit different because in the PS1 version, Leonard of Amorika sounds like when we get there, the leader of Bakrum, Brantyn, is not interested. I think we will maintain neutrality is also better than we are neutral and we will and shall remain neutral. I feel like it's a little more succinct. But here, victory is not our goal. Here, let's pause this. And I go back just a little bit. Here we go. Ronwey's going to be happy. Balsafo asks how we think we'll win. To be honest, we may not. Victory is not our goal. We want to establish a world where everyone can coexist peacefully. We would lose the trust from the people. Here it sounds like he's talking about the Walister people, right? Because of that. But if we come down here, the translation in Reborn...
Ask.
Defeat Gargastan? Surely not. But such was never
also here...
All we won.
Also here, Leonard is much less confident about beating the Gargastani, whereas in the PS1 version, he was like, we might not win, but we've got other goals besides winning a war. Here he's like, oh no, we know we're not going to win a straight-up punch-out.
All we have ever wanted is to fashion, were it to come to light that we sought foreign aid, it would endanger the position of those Gargastani who seek an accord as we do.
So here, he makes it a little more clear. He's not talking about the Walister people. He's worried about losing faith in them. He's talking about the Gargastani people, which makes Leonard feel a little more idealistic than he might come across otherwise.
So, your Duke does not want to anger his neighbors by placing his problems in our hand. Bakrum could stand to take a lesson from him.
And here, Lance comes across a little more snide but complimentary. And up here, he's more, he's a little more pompous, like, oh, but, you know, this is interesting. His laugh is a little more there. But anyway, I feel like this is pretty similar. Ask you such a question. Your troops are quite young. Okay, I think we're all synced up here.
No matter. We of Lodus place much upon a man's honor. I can understand why your Duke would disdain the Bakrum way, enjoying a life of leisure while
As you...
Forgive me. I feared you wanted...
Though they may be young in years.
The day the snow fell, right? So here, I didn't... Here, Balsafo knows what's going on, right? He's like, don't bring up your stupid grudge. But, do I have... I think it's in the One Vision version. Here in the One Vision version, where I actually chose the we were fools to treat with our enemy, Balzafo doesn't know what the grudge is, right? What quarrel is this and what place has it here? Here, Balzafon recognizes us, it sounds like, right? Don't bring up your stupid grudge. It's just an interesting little change that, I don't know. I don't know what it does to his character, but this, in the PS1 version, he comes across a lot more sinister than here. Even though I feel like in the remake, with everything we get with Ozma, he's definitely comes across as a much more evil guy. Oh, no, right. Let's pause this real fast. We'll see. There we go. To get back to our castle. All right. There's not much more difference in the end here. But there we go. Those are the two scenes I wanted to really compare, because I feel like the new translation cleans up so much and does a lot to really help make Sisteena a more interesting character, and it makes this conversation with Lands make so much more sense than the other one. Still, I always find it weird that Vice says nothing through the entire discussion. All right, we're gonna hide my screen real fast, and now we're going to get everything open. That's let's move Reborn down to this corner. PSP should be up here. Oh no, there's the PSP version, is up there. Reborn is down here. One more moment as we grab. Okay, come back to the beginning. Back to the beginning. You're at the beginning. Okay, that should make it easier for me to find. Okay, there's Reborn. Doot, doot. All right. Now we playback. We're gonna get our playback going on everything at. Can I get playback going faster? I think 3 times speed seems fine. I guess you can watch me struggle with VLC player here. Faster. Playback. Faster. And one more faster will get us to 3 times. Excellent. I should learn what the hotkey is so that I don't have to do it with the mouse all the time. Is this what it is like to be Boomer? Okay, and finally, playback. Speed faster. All right. Are all of them muted? All of them are muted. Except for this. Castle. I think that's our next goal here in the PS1 version. I've got a little bit of checking out on our party to do before we head out. There's one thing I want to do with our skeleton. Mainly it's time to start specializing our people a bit more. All right, and I'm gonna shut myself up so you can enjoy myself from the PS1 version. Actually, there we go. You guys, I guess you gotta keep stuff. That's not matter. I can't do that. We're going by level. In theory, we'll tell presence and Zero will eventually fall. Three. I don't think there's anything in the shop, right? Items. So we don't have to come back. Can't do my heal yet. Okay. We now have enough. Fine. Map. There. It says to see compulsion. Give them more time. The level 5 I don't believe anyone here is able to class up. We have our one witch. I didn't know you could class up people without using cast a spell. Okay. Normally I would want to be level as any of the others. People get better straight, but getting MP is one of them. So it's actually cast spells. Down here is a wizard. So I lied. I'm gonna cut in every now and then as I watch this to make sure nothing goes wrong. Notice in the PSP and beyond versions, the little quote here in Gribolza Plains changes. On the PS1 version, the guy has this hilarious line about how they got bigger swords than us. When our equipment's about the same, but you know, it's a funny little line. He gets smacked by the guy with his hammer, and then we go into the fight. At the Golborza Plain, everywhere else, he says they have us in numbers, best fall back. But if we count them up, here we got 5, we've got 2 down there, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They were even ups on numbers with us because we've got 8 plus our 3 guests. They had 6 up there, 2 over there, 6, 7, 8, 3 over here, 11. So his line doesn't make any sense. We were even on numbers, but apparently we do have bigger swords because we win. All right, I'm going to quiet up now and give you music. This would be an idea that Gargastan doesn't have on depending like the Western we found some, but I Northeastern we found some Gargastan soldiers. Alright, let me not be able to steal his magic ring. Basically, I'm just... Okay, I'm basically just looking to see if there's any we should... Oh, gosh. They do have heal spell, don't you? Yeah. Alright, I don't think anything is good. Maybe murdering that guy in front of us. Okay, so there's no real good targets to go. So, just swing down here and stick with Leonard. The company. Maybe we should do that. I lied. There's some. I'm gonna cut in more and more here. Notice how we're still doing setup on the PSP in One Vision. That's one thing that Reborn has. The simplification. It also might be that I'm not as familiar with the. I only played through the PSP version once, and that was like when it released. I was super excited about it. I made one playthrough the. I think I went through the Chaos route, and I was just like. I don't want to say it was exhausting, but it was definitely a game that I felt like I spent way too much time in menus. And that's one thing Reborn cleans up a lot of. And you can sort of see we're just getting into the fight on the PSP version. One Vision is going to be a little bit longer just because I've never done One Vision. So it's, you know, whatever. It's fine that that takes a little bit longer for me to figure out. But again, I like games where you spend most of your time playing and less of your time navigating. So I feel like, even though I like the silly things I can do in PSP and One Vision a little bit more, I think I'm going to like Reborn in the PS1 version because I feel like you have more playtime to game time, if that makes sense. All right, shutting up again. Why did you get that place? Oh, okay. Not sure why that happened. Also, the AI is weird, right? He walked there and he didn't make the attack. Like, granted, this is an easy fight either way, I think, just because there's fewer of them than us and we've we're able to, defeat them in detail. But the AI is a little bad in the PS1 version, a lot worse than I remember. I remember it being way more willing to punish you for mistakes. All right, I'm quiet again. Thank you. 17, 11, 13, 24. Okay, I'm gonna try and let Alkin get the kill. Because he needs 15 to become Terror Knight. But this may end up being a terrible plan. This is gonna get a second chance timer. Oh, that's awkward. Passing up. We should shoot. That's a shotgun. We should shoot. From here, I'm trying to force balls into a specific spot, not able to attack Alkin. There you go, guys. Yeah. Red card is this, metallic card. No, don't attack Tyler. Maybe we'll get something from him. Come on, Tracy. We just want you to be our friend. He looks like the free healing spell. I don't know if he can get that card. Yeah. Used to. Probably. So we want him to not go when he's going to be able to attack us, but I think he's going to attack us. I don't think we're going to get that card. Not what we want from him, but sure. Okay, so let's not do that. Well, we tried. No trophy. Okay, that next might be good. This should be what we're going to see if they can gain a level. Well, both of our flyings for this is 1 to 8. The light on the left. Alright. Oh, he's on level 6. His troops are probably level 5. Check Dragon House out you for that's not help us. Alright. So no one here does the dragons particularly. Someone has stuff I want. That's just because I make a dragon. You can live without getting a dragon and save Cistina. He's gonna cast it. No, he's gonna spear. Well, close enough. Does one guys faster than us? Traffic jam is that? I don't think he has a range effect to kill me with dragon, does he? Oh, you're just over there! You made a whole point to try to get away from there! She gets stunned, we're gonna have a bad day. Okay. Oh, wait, the wizard, so he's switching to everyone else. Okay. We should have done that shield bash bot. We need her to come back to us. Did she just stand there? No, she couldn't just stand there. That was just poison there. We can clear this guy. So Leonard should not get distracted by easy kill. Maybe we get Cistina with this. I was gonna go up and over. Sometimes they shoot out a really weird angle. Okay, well, that was an embarrassment. There's not an easy reset. Okay, so let's reset. Alright, that was embarrassing. I really thought he would do one of the really weird shots where shoot super high up and marks over. Didn't think he was gonna shoot straight forward into the person we were trying to save. So embarrassing all around. Alright. Trying. You guys are angrier today? This might hit the house, right? No? Alright. That should be enough that Cistina can kill this one. Oh, she's gonna try 700? Not the other card. Poisoned? She does. Oh, no poison this time. Okay, so I can only accidentally shoot her in the back, we should be fine. We try and get some extra experience, or we just go to the end of the map. He goes at 15, she goes at 12, 14, 15. Okay, so extra experience. Not technically good, but okay, whoops. This should also miss. Not a block, so if you attack him, oh, you got another block off. Alright, skeleton buddy, you get a kill? You do. This is a line card. Alright, trust the Curtis can get there. Alright, trust the Curtis can get there and kill him. I need to put too much faith in Curtis. There we go, that's good. Unfortunately, it's doing this. Anything in the shops yet? Nope. Cool recruit. Cool, we want a griffin. Okay. No. We're not gonna use it. We'll end up using it. Okay. You can get a level. Oh. For some reason, everybody's expecting a little longer, a little requiring some effort. Alright, let's go meet the Dark Knights. That was a foe. like 3 counters. I originally planned to just cut it here, but it feels like I'm much faster than I thought. The shops are updated yet. My magic now. Don't need any of those. Like extra heal. 2 of these. I don't think I need any of these yet. We only have. Oh, that's right. We can't use our magic. Well, at least you're gonna go fake your own kind of hill. Right in the counter. There we go. She does the level 6 on one, and then you get the rest of everything 6.5. And then real blast is your next section. Fake your own kills. Nothing exciting. Good job. Good job being beat. Okay, don't go first. Let's do the knockback. Okay. That's bad. Wait, thank you. You want to work on your deck? Oh, did not know that. Hopefully, you need something so that I'll get the kill. Not the rest of us. Who's next? He's not gonna be full damage. Could get the strength card. Range for Sword also great. Exactly what I want. You get to sleep. That's okay. You did your job, Otto. she can't transfer the trade. No. There's no excuse now for Ogden not to be able to get that kill. This is the trade. Very nice blocks you. Oh, good job, Ogden. This one, I'll use off Ogden significantly less. I would also range this. Anything he wants now. I'll keep going. Okay, awesome. Look at that auto. Oh, he doesn't want to actually wake them up. Huh. Of course, the last one card. Just magic. Okay. Get the gold. Some more gold. Alright. Now we can, and now the worst part of this is leveling. So you could try and do the next fight at a later level to get to 6, but I want everyone their save level, their save classes, so. Let's just make sure that their strength close enough for that I'll turn into a berserker. Probably presence, yeah. Oh, basically these two. Beats those, that's true, okay. Alright, and now we just speed through it, because our time is more important. I felt like I was complete domination. I was actually at 6 till we did it. And it's only 10. You can cast, you just barely cast stop. Alright. That's fine. You shouldn't accidentally level. It's been over a while. Okay, wait, who else is now? There it is. Velocity. I'm going to do one fight here. With the clients. Okay, because you want to get some going. There. Alright, let me go back onto the here. We never appreciate that. I'm just going to refrigeration on the way there. Okay, no, I was expecting, but sure. And there we go. That's everything through Phidoc and back to Amorika. I think we stripped this wizard of his stuff. We get sad we can't steal his spells, and then we kick him out. All right. So our next step will be getting to the end of chapter 1. We'll be go. I think I usually try and go neutral route first, just to get the sadness out of the way. That is not getting Gildas. Other than that, yeah, I think we're pretty much caught up. So there we go. All right. We don't need to re-equipping everyone, but that's my thoughts on this portion. So thanks.